Welcome to the Lincoln City Council meeting of February the 9th, 2015. Let us all rise for Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a period of silent meditation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In accordance with LB 898, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chamber. The order of business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call the items listed on the agenda under public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on an item should come forward after the clerk reads that item. The applicant and those in favor should speak first, then those opposed. The applicant may then make one short rebuttal. Each speaker should begin by stating name, address, and whether you're speaking in favor of or in opposition to the item. Please spell your name for us. The testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. After all public hearings, the council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last meetings of the month immediately prior to the adjournment, anyone may speak on any issue not on the agenda for that date nor planned for a future agenda. This is an open meeting night, and we will start with the mayor's Award of Excellence. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the council, we're catching up with our awards of excellence for our monthly award. This award is for January and is being presented to fire equipment mechanic Robert Poe. Robert's a 16-year veteran of the Logistics Division and Fire and Rescue, nominated by Division Chief Kendall Warnock in the categories of loss prevention and productivity for saving the city thousands of dollars by remounting ambulances and refurbishing vehicles to meet the department's needs. The two-person logistics division is responsible for keeping the fleet of fire trucks and fire engines and ambulances and other emergency equipment in working order. They're also involved in the annual testing of equipment for firefighter safety. Right now, Bob is the division's mechanic working on repairs, maintenance, and other projects. Warnock said Bob is detailed and has done excellent fabrication work on apparatus. He is the go-to person on lighting issues and has the ability to make quick repairs of every type. The division started the major ambulance remounting program 2 years ago. The 4-month process involves removing the patient care compartment from the chassis, upgrading the lighting, flooring, and upholstery, and taking care of safety issues. Compared to purchasing new ambulances, the cost savings of remounting is significant. The last new ambulances cost LFR $164,000 each. Remounting can be done for $80,000. On another project, LFR acquired the old bookmobile from Lincoln City Libraries, and Bob refurbished it into a rehabilitation unit for emergency personnel. Similar new vehicles cost $300,000 or more. LFR's total investment in the reconditioned vehicle is less than $10,000. The rehab vehicle is very useful in treating individuals and in monitoring the blood pressure, heart rate, and oxygen levels of firefighters on the scene. Bob's most recent project was to outfit an emergency unit for potential response to Ebola patients. Warnock said Bob completes these large projects in addition to his regular duties, sometimes working nights and weekends to finish the job. Bob has also pursued additional training for his position. He has received the emergency vehicle technician certification on many areas of fire apparatus and ambulance repair. With these certifications, Bob has become one of just 4 ambulance certified technicians in Nebraska. Warnock commended Bob for his efforts to improve his expertise and his abilities so that he can and does provide exceptional service to LFR. So it's my pleasure to present Robert Poe, who from sitting with him for a few minutes, I discovered is a very nice guy, with the Mayor's Award of Excellence for January. Please join me in congratulating Bob for his hard work and his commitment to the city of Lincoln. I think Chief Warnock is going to say a few words.
Council, good afternoon. Mayor, thank you. You know, I think we all understand that we have a lot of great employees in the city of Lincoln. Bob is an exceptional one, and he does a great job for us on nights and weekends. And you know, if it wasn't for him, his expertise and his knowledge with apparatus would be sorely missed in Lincoln. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Members of the council and mayor, I want to thank you for allowing us to come down here and nominate Bob and award him with this recognition. I got to tell you, when Kendall wrote this nomination, I read it and I thought, what a great idea. I wish I'd have thought of that. He really is well-deserved. Kendall, especially for nominating him, and Bob for doing the work, does a great job for us each and every day. I can count on him. I know that things are going to be fixed when they're broken, and he just deserves this very much, and I'm glad to be here. So thank you, Mayor, especially for your award.
Yes. Yeah, introduce.
Yes. This is my wife, Mary, and she's put up with my rather sporadic.
He comes and goes frequently. I never know when. It could be in the middle of dinner, out for, you know, a date on the town, and some evening we're interrupted for,
So,
but he's always there, he's counted on.
it's been a great career, and I've had a wonderful time these last 16 years, and hope to finish out my career. And every day is just a different day, and just love working on the equipment,
Very
trying
good.
to keep things on the road.
John.
I really want to congratulate you on those remounts on the ambulances, because that was one of the selling points in 2001 when we bought those original ones, and for a while they weren't. But I just really congratulate you on getting the expertise to do that and saving the city a tremendous amount of resources that we can use elsewhere. So thank you.
Thank you. Yep, I've had help from other people in the background, so it's been a wonderful job, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. I've never thought I'd ever get anything like this in my career, so
Congratulations.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to know how he is on home repair.
Oh, constantly. This last weekend, he was fortunate enough to get his mother's vehicle back and running.
There you go. Any other questions? Thank you for doing that. My gut feeling is that you're an exceptional employee, but that's not the exception to the rule. I think we have a lot of them. And thank you, as John said, for understanding how important it is that we save money, and for just apparently loving your job as much as you do. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give everybody a chance to clear out here, and then we'll go. Okay, Teresa, let's do the first item, please.
Certainly. First will be our public hearing consent agenda, items 1 through 7.
Anybody like to speak to these items? Staff questions? Next item, please.
All right, if not, we can vote on these items. Items 2 through 5 were introduced by Fellers.
So moved.
Second by Larian. Discussion. Call a roll.
Fellers,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Just a reminder to the public, we, in honor of President's Day, there will be no city council meeting next Monday, February 16th. Next would be our public hearing liquor resolutions. Those giving testimony are asked to come forward, raise their right hand for the clerk to administer the oath. After the oath, witnesses shall state their names and addresses. I'll call items 8 and 9 together. They're the application of Dow and Win Properties LLC, doing business as South Fast Break for a Class D liquor license at 1648 South Street, and the related manager application of Paulina Wynn. Just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth as you verily believe it to be?
Yes.
Thank you. Just give your name and address.
Okay. Good afternoon, Council. My name is Paulina Wynn, PaulinaNguyen, and my address is 1648 South Street. And I'm here to operate in the liquor license to Class D.
Okay, questions? Tell us a little bit about your business, please.
This is a convenience store. We sell in gas and food inside on 16 and South. 17 and South.
And you're going to expand the store?
No, just upgrade,
Okay.
selling more alcohol, wine.
Okay. Very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
John, I'm sorry, Carl.
thank you. As I understand it, you currently have a Class B license, which allows you to sell beer, and you're looking for a Class D license to
Yes.
sell beer, alcohol, and
Fine.
other liquor?
Yes.
Okay. Both.
Yes.
Thank you. And I also see that you currently have a manager's permit, but you need to renew that before the end of
I'm a
April?
manager and owner too.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you do have the need, your certificate expires, I think it says April 25th,
Yes.
so you need to get that renewed by then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else who'd like to speak to this item?
Mr. Chair, I'd move approval of both items 8 and 9.
Second.
Second by Trent. Discussion? Call the roll.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Public hearing resolutions, there are none. Public hearing ordinances, second reading. I'll call item 10, Comp Plan Conformance 14027, declaring approximately 2,690 square feet of property generally located at North 12th and Charleston Street as surplus.
Members of the City Council, David Landis, Urban Development Department Director, and the applicant in this case. This is a continuing follow-up to the Chris Elsey project in the North Bottoms. Major expansion of student
Sorry?
housing. It wasn't me. I just want you to know. Okay. We saw an issue a little earlier about a land swap that was done along here to get the appropriate size for Y Street, to be not to have to worry about a jig and a jog that was in the land ownership. That's behind us. This is the final remaining piece of getting a roadway through here and up into the neighborhood. If you wanted to see what it looked like in the context of the neighborhood, it would be down Y Street, up on 12th Street, and connecting with the neighborhood. Good for everybody because it keeps this traffic to this project, and it doesn't interfere then very significantly with the neighborhood. This is a piece of land that we own, even though 12th Street will be here. So the road is going to go this way and up. And we have a remnant piece of property, 2,600 square feet. It is unbuildable in its size. It's in the floodplain for which we will then receive a conservation easement. There is no other department who wants this land. And in the end, this is the one chance you'll see this issue, should you agree, because this will be a land swap rather than a sale for more than $10,000. And what's being swapped for us is a piece of land that Mr. Elsey owns, which interferes with the location of 12th Street. Remember that Mr. Elsey is building the 12th Street. We're not. So we're getting a pretty good deal on this end of it. And to make that happen, we're getting a piece of land we need to get him to be able to build an appropriate size 12th Street. And we're giving up a piece of remnant land to an abutting landowner that has conservation easement and is unbuildable and is largely valueless, but it leverages this very appropriate, valuable addition to the connectivity of the neighborhood and to save the neighbors that much of the parking generated by this project. That's why we're asking for the surplus. You won't see us back for a sale because it will be a land swap.
Any questions? Carl?
Yes, Mr. Landis, this is 2,690 square feet. How many cars could you park on this configuration, do you know?
8,
8? Okay.
9, 8.
Well, I recall when Mr. Elsey came before us that there was a shortage, I guess, of parking spaces relative to the occupancy of the property that he's building here. So that's good.
That's
Having
right.
some parking is a good thing.
He
for
will
us.
use this for parking,
Yes.
and that takes pressure off any of the other neighboring streets. So that's a positive.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else who'd like to speak to this item? Okay, thank you. Anybody who'd like to speak to this item? Additional staff questions? Next item, please.
All right, next would be item 11, approving the license agreement between the city and Omaha Public Power District for the installation of a fiber optic line on city-owned property in Ashland, Nebraska.
Members of the council, David Young, Public Works. Before you today is the license agreement between OPPD and the Water Department to install 2-1/4 inch conduits between an existing pole line fiber system and an underground vault. It does cross the water easement for approximately 150 foot.
Okay. Questions? Okay, thank you. Anybody who'd like to speak to this item? Staff questions? Next item, please.
Next would be item 12, change of zone 14035, application of Darlene Harrison for a change of zone from R2 residential to R3 residential on property generally located at the northwest corner of South 40th and Pioneers Boulevard.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Eckert with Soul Design Group, here today on behalf of John Rawlis and Bill Meter, who are the purchasers of this property. It is what I would call an infill project, but not a redevelopment project. This corner, to my understanding, has sat undeveloped ever since Ms. Harrison's house was built in 1918, and she had some affinity for it. I believe she was born there. And so after many attempts, after it's on the market for the past several years, of folks to try to do something commercial there, the market price got adjusted accordingly, and our clients are in to do townhouse development there. I'll put this exhibit up. There's actually 8 townhomes and 2 single-family units on this development. And we actually ended up working quite extensively with staff because for those of you that might travel this region, you know that 40th Street here and the intersection of Pioneers is relatively underserved in terms of size and lanes, and so there's quite a bit of congestion. And but by right, we could come in today and plat lots like this and take 5 driveways onto 40th Street, and we could also take driveways onto Pioneers. But we worked with, and we didn't think that was probably the best thing for the townhomes either. So we worked with staff on being able to do, it's not an alley, it's just going to be a public access easement with a common drive back there, where the garages on all these units would be on the rear, and then they would access out onto 39th Street, so that we wouldn't have any driveways taking direct access to Pioneers or to 40th Street. We'll also be dedicating an additional 7-foot of right-of-way on 40th Street in the event the city would someday want to put in a right-hand turn lane, which would help on that congestion there. And so our change of zone is primarily because of a difference in the setback between the townhomes in R2 and R3. So this distance from the edge of the townhome envelope to the property line, in R2 it's 5 foot, so 5 foot and 5 foot in a 10-foot area, but in R3. In R2 it's 10 foot. And so the extra 5 foot really allows the builder to create a bigger home, which is a more value. And we think that the neighbors found that more desirable when we had the meeting with them. And what we have done to our neighbors to the north, the 2 existing homes that we directly abut, we're going to maintain a 10-foot setback to them. Even though we're putting single-family homes there and we would only have to do 5 foot in the R2, we're going to give them 10 foot to make enough space since there are existing ones. And so we're able to build a bigger building and on the townhome style units. And I think we resolved a lot of access issues for the city and their benefit. And so I think it was part of the willingness to look at a change of zone here. And we did have a neighborhood meeting, and I felt like things went pretty well. We've had good direct contact with the 2 neighbors to the north, and we had about, I think, close to 30 people attend. And I think there was some relief, some questions, but in the end, they felt like these were going to be a good product. They'll be targeted towards the 55 and older market. They may very well be slab on grade. The builder's still trying to decide. And we discussed at Planning Commission. These do fall into the neighborhood design standards because of the age of the area in terms of a door and the windows fronting the street, so on and so forth. So with that said, be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions, Jonathan?
Just the driveway is a private drive, right? So all of that is maintained by those homeowners. They'll have like an association where they take care of that and shovel snow and whatever.
Correct, John. The lot line will go to the middle of it here, and even this one will be shared between these 2 lots, but they'll have their own little association for maintenance, snow removal, and everything. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Trent?
And townhomes are out of the question for the neighborhood. There's townhomes directly to the south across the street, right?
There are some, yes.
Yep.
Yep. So I think it'll fit in well, given the traffic on the corner, et cetera. So
That was a big lawn to mow.
yes, that was one of the things the neighbors said. They had kind of taken ownership of this thing over the years in terms of walking dogs and doing things, but at the same time, there's a hill kind of on this corner, and sometimes the weeds got to be a problem in terms of sight distance. So I think overall, they were glad to see something was happening, and it was something that was consistent with the neighborhood.
I can't tell you how many times I rode my bike by there when I was a kid.
Yeah, it's been a long, like I said, closing in on 100 years here that the town surrounded it. So,
Mike, is there an organized group that you've been dealing with there? An organized neighborhood group?
I don't know if there was.
Just contact people.
Yeah, we did the typical radius mailing,
Right.
and that got that from the planning department. And to be honest, I think Christy Eichhorn and I both looked, and I can't remember what the association was. But
more important to me, when you get a design, will you be letting them at least see it so that we can?
Yes, and my understanding is that has to go back through Ed Zimmer in the planning department for approval.
I just want to make sure it's not something that at the last minute somebody, you know what we're talking about. Okay.
I think Ed will represent them well.
Very good.
And we've
I have no
got
doubt.
him
I just want to make sure that everybody could be content they were going to get one more look at it. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody who'd like to speak to this item? Staff questions? Next item, please.
Next is our public hearing ordinances, 3rd reading and related resolutions. They are items 13, 14, and 15. They are text amendment 14021, amending section 2772080 of the Lincoln Municipal Code, relating to exceptions to front yard requirements to provide for a reduced commercial front yard setback in the O1 office district and the B3 commercial district, where there is an abutting residential district along the same block face. Approving a development and conditional zoning agreement between the city and Ironwood Properties and Stefan Construction Specialists to restrict use of the property under the proposed change of zone on property generally located at the northeast corner of South 48th and Pioneers. And then we have change of zone 14029, application of Ironwood Properties and Stefan Construction Specialists for a change from O2 Suburban Office to B3 Commercial on property generally located at South 48th and Pioneers Boulevard.
Mr. Chair, members of the council, Derek Zimmerman with the Baylor Ebden Law Firm, 1248 O Street, Suite 600. As you recall, we had the public hearing on these items last week. It was held over relating to items for the text amendment. This is the project on the northeast corner of 48th and Pioneers Boulevard. I believe that the members of the council have a motion to amend before them to review. I just want to, from the applicant's perspective, just want to let the council members know that we worked with Councilman Cook especially and members of the city staff last week, and we have no opposition to the amendment, and we're ready to move forward and happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Questions? Okay, well, thank you for working through this, Derek. Appreciate it. Anybody who'd like to speak to this item? Staff questions? Next item, please.
That concludes our public hearing. We can move into the voting session.
Let's do that.
All right. Public hearing ordinances, second reading, were items 10 through 12. Public hearing ordinances, third reading, item 13 is text amendment 14021. This was introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Lyrian. I'd also move motion to amend number 3. Okay. Is there a second?
Second that.
Second by Lyrian. Jonathan, do you want to explain?
Yeah, and this would just add to the text amendment some minimal design standards regarding windows in buildings that are close to the street. Basically, these are designs that this applicant on this project is meeting, and I think they've done a nice job on their design, and appreciate their efforts in that regard. Any other comments? All right, call the motion. Call the roll on the amendment, please.
Fellers,
Yes. Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Eskridge. Motion carried 7-0.
Discussion on the main motion. Call the roll, please.
Fellers, Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Next is item 14, the development and conditional zoning agreement, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Trent. Discussion. Call the roll.
Fellers,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 15 is change of zone 14029, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Seconded by Trent. Discussion. Call the roll.
Fellers,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 6, or ordinances third reading then, item 16, repealing ordinance 19940, creating paving district 2633 in Northwest Nance Street from Northwest 8th to Northwest 9th Streets due to the lack of a petition signed by a majority of affected property owners, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Trent. Carl?
Thank you. At our hearing last week, Ms. Philippi from, who's she from? Public Works was here and explained kind of the dilemma that we have with situations like this where some homeowners in certain areas seek to have their gravel roads paved, but they're in an area where a lot of rental property is, and the landlords are opposed to it. And so it's difficult for the homeowners, occupants, to be able to get those roads paved, and that's the situation we have here, where the majority of the land is owned by landlords who are not interested in seeing the street paved, and it's just somewhat of a dilemma that we've got in the community, and hopefully we can, in time, figure a way to move beyond this difficulty.
Any other questions? Comments? Call the roll, please.
Fellers,
Yes.
Gaylor Baird,
Yes.
Camp,
Yes.
Christensen,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Emery,
Yes.
Eskridge.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Next is item 17, authorizing the issuance of not to exceed $375 million City of Lincoln, Nebraska Lincoln Electric System revenue and refunding bonds, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
Lyrian? Discussion? Lyrian?
I just want to appreciate LAS's fiscal team and Laura Kapuska in particular for their efforts here, because included in this issuance is some refunding of existing bonds that should save the the city $9.2 million.
Any comments? Thank you to LES. Call the roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 18, change of zone 14033, application of Casey's Retail Company, Keith, no idea, and James Peterson for a change from R4 residential and O2 suburban to B3 commercial on property generally located northwest of the intersection of South 48th and Meredith Street, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
And seconded by Trent.
I'll move motion to amend number 1.
Second. Batchewski.
Seconded by John. You want to explain it, please?
Yeah, this would remove the property that's currently zoned residential at 47th and Meredith that was included in this rezoning to commercial and therefore leave it residential. It's not needed for the Casey's project, and it's not clear that it would be beneficial to this property owner to be zoned commercial at this time.
Any other discussion? I'd also like to thank Mr. Hunziker, not Mr. Seacrest, but Mr. Hunziker, for making sure that we got this taken care of. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 19 is approving the O Street and North 84th Street agreement between the State Department of Roads, the city, Cornhusker Bank, and... Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, we do need the main motion on 18.
Okay. Yep, I'm sorry. Questions about the main motion? Call roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook? Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Now we can go on to 19, which is the O Street and North 84th Street agreement between the State Department of Roads, the city, Cornhusker Bank, and Brem Enterprises relating to Cornhusker Bank's construction of street improvements associated with the bank's development on the northwest corner of the intersection of 84th and O Street, and providing for the city to reimburse Cornhusker Bank for its cost to construct a southbound right turn lane on 84th Street with impact fees, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
Second by Larian. Discussion? Trent?
I just want to say there's a lot of good things coming together here. Cornhusker Bank building a branch there, the Brem family, seeing this corner developed, and God, a right turn lane onto O Street from 84th is just amazing. So, yeah, I'm happy to see this move forward.
Yeah, I would agree. This is going to be a really nice building on an entryway. It also really opens up, I think, some more development to the land out there that used to be Rustwoods. And finally, maybe the most important part, at least if you're a driver, is that we will get that right turn lane onto O Street, which will be well worth it.
And you don't see many projects that come through with a specific space set aside for community members to use for meeting space. I thought that was a nice touch and a thoughtful touch that serves the wider community.
Call the roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0. Item 20 is use permit 13011A, application of Brem Enterprises to amend the Rustwood Park use permit to increase the floor area to exceed the maximum height and modify the parking requirements in the B2 Planned Neighborhood Business District on property generally located at North 84th and O Street, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second.
Second by John. Discussion. Call a roll.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge? Motion carried 7-0. Item 21 is vacation 14013, vacating approximately 0.03 acres of Rustwood Parkway right-of-way adjacent to Outlot A, Rustwood Park, 4th edition, introduced by Cook.
So moved.
Second by John. Discussion. Call a roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook? Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Resolutions first reading are items 22 through 25. Ordinances first reading are items 26 through 31. On item 30, we did have a request to place this item on pending, no date certain.
So moved.
Moved by John, seconded by Jonathan. Carl? Okay. Discussion? Call a roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Carried, 7-0. On our pending list, we have a request to remove items 32 and 33 and withdraw them.
Yes, I have spoken to, and I'll move the removal of item 32 and 33. I've spoken to the attorney for Monty Freilich, who was the applicant for these, and he has requested that we take him off the pending list. And
Second.
Seconded by Roy. Go ahead. Now you can discuss
and
it.
yeah, and so we'd like to do that now. Remove them.
Okay. Discussion? This is Trent's favorite day because what at one time was a 2.5-page pending list is now down to 0 minus the one we just put on. So we are making headway.
If we have a policy of taking 2 off and putting 1 on,
that'd work.
yeah.
All right. Call a roll, please.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Emery?
Yes.
Eskridge? Motion carried, 7-0. Anyone wishing to address the council on a matter not on this agenda and not planned to appear on a future agenda may do so at this time, since it is an open microphone session.
I'd like to approach
Come on up. State your name, please.
Mark Morris, 1111 Furnace Avenue, Lincoln, Nebraska, zip code 68521. I'd like to present every council member with a copy of the letter. And I would just like to state the fact of the council members to make note of the date of the letter, today's date, and the date of the item in question that has been highlighted.
Okay.
And if they have any questions.
Okay. I will ask Jeff, will you contact information from him and talk to him? It's about a claim that he hasn't got a response back from, and that's all I'm going to let him do because undoubtedly it will be come up in front of us. Okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I invite you to a paradise on earth. There are some corrections. Americans are in prison in China since October, according to October 27th Forbes magazine. The Gazetteers shoulder-fire missiles came from Chinese Walmart ships at the Muslim Brotherhood Suez Canal. Don't buy from Walmart. Muslim Brotherhood has crucified hundreds of Jews in the Sinai Desert. Obama brought Muslim Brotherhood to the White House. An American president would escort them to jail. Don't export coal. We have a limited supply and need coal to keep warm in winter. Not a drop of oil should go abroad, yet New Orleans exported $15 billion worth of oil, much to China. The North Dakota Balkans complained Soviets sent Americhrist oil to the Soviet disunion. And Soviets used subliminals and nanos to self-inflict Americans. Wear a rosary for the best influences. Thousands of hospital staff layoffs are occurring in every state. Pharmaceutical heads in China are in prison. Tegretol is no longer given when it was 10 times better than phenobarbital. Pills made abroad are duds or lethal. Taper off your pills. Lethal oils have been put into refrigerators. Put a cross on the fridge for Christ to save you. The good news is some essential oils are better than penicillin. The first week of February, Hope Month, 55 Americris were taken into a Chinese coliseum and tortured all day. 7,000 Chinese communists applauded. A nation doesn't employ foreigner reporters because some information is meant to be kept secret so foreigners don't know our vulnerabilities. Liz Cho is a communist Chinese. Christina Amanpour is a foreigner Muslim. Americris always sought non-proliferation of nukes. Yet Obama, Derek Geller of South Africa, is giving nukes to Modi, a Muslim terrorist president in India, while millions of Naxtel communists have genocided Hindus by arranging first their meetings by email. Muslims use green lasers from as far away as a mile or two from the airport to temporarily blind Americris pilots as they landed. In 1996, Ron Brown's plane crashed from Soviets using a magnetic machine that alters the magnetic instruments in planes after sunset. Over 50 United States senators crashed going to a Florida funeral 3 years ago. Don't take a plane if you can help it. Empty Angeles. Foreigners with tiny helicopters radiated the land. Americris have no navy. Imports might be curtailed in the future, so buy seeds and we'll work with our hands to make everything we need. Americris can only visit a jailer if they are on a list. Missing persons might be in a jail offered one of 3 injections: Haldol, truth serum, or lethal injection. How does a jailer know the difference? He doesn't.
1 minute.
Anyone should be able to visit, give the jailers xylophones. Many have hit to get into jail. They can hit to make music. Care for the weak.
Anybody else who'd like to speak? Okay.
Mr. Chair, seeing no one coming forward, I'd move for adjournment and also remind folks that we will not have a meeting next week as it is President's Day.
Second.
Seconded by Roy. Oh, Carl. Who's Roy? Roy. Discussion? Call roll.
Fellers?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Cook? Emery? Eskridge? Motion carried, 7-0.